SaySomething. It's like a podcast, but it's a vodcast, so you can listen and watch. It's like news talk or sports talk, but it's life talk, so we can walk the road together. Wally, Becca, Betty, and Zach, WayFM's Wally Show cast, chats with us about gifting, purpose, and their tips to a joy-filled life, along with a few laughs, of course. WayFM is a national nonprofit radio broadcasting system in the U.S. whose mission is influencing this generation to love and follow Jesus through culturally relevant media. The Wally Show takes on morning programming, encouraging listeners with great music, fun humor, and honest talk. Here's a clip when John Chris joined them in studio.
iPod roulette, where we put our iPods on shuffle and see who had the cooler song come up,
yeah.
and then we debate
but
it.
It's all this fun stuff you guys do that you aren't doing now.
Yes.
The other days we did the super fun stuff.
Because you're the fun one.
Yeah. We criticize other people's
Ego
music, we
boost,
play
ego
roulette, it's
boost.
amazing. What is this party that's happening when I'm not here?
Yeah.
When you come in, we're going to talk about therapy. On a normal day.
I hate to break it to you, this was an intervention, not an interview.
Thanks for joining the conversation. Here we go.
How long have y'all been with the station?
I've been
what
there.
got you into radio?
I've been at WayFM for almost 12 years with Zach. Over there, Zach, lean in. Him.
Hi, Zach.
And Betty. That's Betty right there. We've been there together the longest. And then Becca's our newest, but our newest is still 5 years. So that's, that's pretty good in radio world. And who turned on my seat warmer? Who did that? Who's jacking with me? Somebody's messing with me.
That is the worst, isn't it?
Yeah, you did that, didn't you?
I didn't, but I would have if I'd thought about it.
Who did that? Because it's really funny.
That is funny.
And there's $1 that fell in between your seat. Becca, if you get it, you can have it.
There's
Yes.
your tip.
Making money today.
Nice. And I think I might have broke your armrest. So this is going splendidly.
Welcome to our low cart. Okay, we're pulling over here. Do y'all feel good about it?
I got it. I fixed it. Never mind.
Yeah.
I think we're going to go this way. Okay, so you've been in it for...
I broke it again.
Becca's the 5 years. That's the youngest.
Yeah, at
And then-
WayFM.
Okay. But how long have you been in radio? And I think it's really cool y'all are doing radio because a lot of people would think that people don't listen to the radio. But do you know what I mean?
I think that's
Podcasts, but I don't think it's true.
I think that's a misnomer because
too.
yes, there are some really great podcasts that people love and listen to, but they're the exception. It's not like they are running over the media right now.
Right.
And you're pulling my seatbelt. I feel you. That's the other thing we do is mess with each other the entire
brilliant.
time. So we've done radio. I've done it for 25 years now.
Okay.
And I was in mainstream radio before, Christian radio. And then Zach, how about you? How long?
13.
Betty Rock.
Since you.
Yeah.
Well, no.
A little before me. You did a little bit before me, I
Yeah,
thought,
so
right?
probably 15.
And then Becca's the youngest. She doesn't
Yeah.
act like it, or you wouldn't know to look at her, but she's 27.
But I started at like 19, so
Really?
it's been like 8 years.
Like
yeah.
with your local station and just working there?
So in college, I went to school for radio.
Okay.
I was the kid that would make little cassette tapes with my little,
Love it.
And so ended up studying radio, and we had a full power FM station as a part of our college. And so instead of being on the college station, they put me on the afternoon
Really?
show. Yeah, as a sophomore
Wow.
in college. Yeah.
She was intentional. I just failed at everything I tried. and that's
I
usually
don't-
how
I
you
don't
end up here.
9 out of
believe
10
that.
radio people.
Really
Yeah.
and truly?
Yeah, or you're a failed musician. A lot of times, a lot of radio guys are frustrated musicians because you couldn't
Interesting.
make that world happen. So you still love music and you
Yeah.
end up playing music and stuff. And so this, like, for me, this is what was better suited to my life. Like, my spiritual gift is sarcasm. And so, like...
I've always thought that was a spiritual gift. to me.
yeah, a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
And so for this job, that's like... I'm built for this,
Yeah.
more so than music.
Well, and I think it's really cool how you guys take great music because you play great music, but you also have a purpose behind it. And so I'd love for you to talk about that. Like, what's your purpose and goal in your morning show?
The thing is, I know, like, we're a Christian station, so the immediate answer would be to tell people about Jesus.
I know, but that's not what I'm at. Because that's,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's different about you guys. Yes, that's a part of it, but it's very clear you've
Yeah.
got something going on for the people that are engaging with your program. Do you feel like that?
Yeah, and I think that faith is definitely the foundation of it,
Right.
but we do a lot of humor in the show so that when people dig a little bit deeper, they find the few and far between serious moments, those moments that change people's lives, or the stories of humor that has helped people through really rough situations, and even stories of the most ridiculous things helping people through tough situations.
Yeah, like we had Chris Tomlin in maybe a month ago, and we were doing a game called Round Robin, where everyone picks one word, and you go around the room, and then Chris Tomlin has to sing that song, whatever we come up with.
Yeah.
And so we had talked about earlier in a news break about someone that had this huge blown up colon, I guess, at a doctor's office, and someone had
inflatable.
and someone had stolen it.
Yeah.
Someone had stolen the colon.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so because of that the word colon was in my head. And so when we were playing this game, it came in my part and I said colon.
I'd like to point out second word in. Like that. Like it wasn't like it went around and oh, colon. It was like I said one word and then Betty comes up with colon. And Tomlin's face was like this. Colon. Like literally.
He did great. He did awesome. Came up with this song, and then after he was done with it, we had a woman call in, like tearing up, saying that she had just had someone in her family that had to have emergency surgery on their colon. She was like, "God just really spoke to me through that song," and it's like, the guy can do no wrong. He can sing
That's
about a phone book,
amazing.
you know.
But that's the point of
Right.
the point of it. Back to like Jesus is like the thread of everything, and faith is the thread of it. But it's not always the forefront. Sometimes it's that background music kind of thing, and other times it is the forefront. But if somebody was to ask me, like, and actually when we designed this show's gone in a couple different incarnations. Like when we first started, it was called Total Access, and it was this music interview show and stuff, and it morphed over time, and then like became the Wally Show. And when we were rebranding it, a friend of mine in radio asked me, he said, "What do you want the show to be known for?" And I was like, and that's when it all clicked. I'm like, I want it to be known for being funny.
Yeah.
And so that became our filter that we funnel everything through. And I can't tell you the amount of emails. The serious stuff works, obviously.
Yeah.
But I can't tell you the amount of emails from people that are like, man, I was having the worst day, and like some people are like, I was considering ending my life, and this pulled me out of that. I mean, it happens all the time.
Yeah, I remember you guys did a spoof on the Bohemian Rhapsody, which was hilarious. and you said that someone called in that really had negative things going on in his head, and
that
it
made him laugh.
it tripped, and that's so powerful.
I had a guy, and this is one of my favorites too. Like we had done a thing about naming your car, which was just a silly nothing break. And one guy called and was so mad that we wasted the Lord's time by naming our cars, and he was really upset about it. And then I talked to another guy, same break, but his take was he was thanking us for making him laugh because he hadn't laughed in 6 months since his daughter was killed in a car accident.
Oh my gosh.
So to me, it was like same break,
Right.
but two people read it completely differently.
Right.
And so I'll take the one overly saved guy being upset with it all day long. I don't care.
Right.
But the guy that needed it, it hit him right where he was. It was what he needed, and God used something silly for something transformative for him.
Yeah.
So that's why we do what we do, and that's how we do what we do.
Well, you have smart humor. So
Try, not always.
I mean, we're
don't
not
everyone
smart.
look at Betty right now. Do not look at Betty.
Hey, Betty, I'm talking just to you, really. I was kind of including everybody else, but it's really Betty that has smart humor.
Haters gonna
No, I know that you say that tongue in cheek, but it's clear that you plan out what you're doing, and it's smart. I mean, I know that you do off the cuff stuff, but you have too many, your windows are short, and you handle your time so well, and it's tight, even though you allow yourselves to play off each other.
That's what people don't understand. Like, the best compliment is when somebody comes up, like, I'm not offended at all when they come up and go, you guys just get to go in there and mess around.
Right.
I wish that's what it all was. We'd be done. We would work less. But we plan it all out very much. But we plan what we're going to do, but not how we're going to do it. And so that's where inside the chemistry and the friendship and all of that makes it go all these different directions.
Yeah.
And so but you have to plan something. The shows that don't plan, and there are shows that don't do anything. Like they walk in, they'll hit a grand slam 1 out of 10 times.
Right.
So our goal is to have our batting average be batting, 9 out of 10 or 8 out of 10.
Right. Well, I would say that you do, and that's how I even found your station. Because when you came to Dallas, I saw the billboards and stuff. I was like, "What is that?"
We love being here. This is a big win for us.
Well, it's a huge market, but it's a hard market to come into
Very much.
because you have some of the beginning of Christian radio in Dallas with Frank Reed.
Oh, I know, and he's
so
a really nice guy
he's
too.
Great.
His
And
wife is sweet.
What they do is phenomenal, and it's been great for years. But to come into this market, I think would be hard. But I'm just saying it's enough different to where everybody can have their share and it still be smart and It's just a great program.
They reach a different group of people. Like, they speak a different language, and it's fine. It's great. There's nothing wrong with it. Like, they just choose to do it differently. Like, we have a place where, and it's, sure, we're the voice of it, but it doesn't happen without, like, the people above us allowing us to have honest conversations about suicide, infidelity, you know, you name it. We can talk about it with the right camera angle, because that's real life for people. And not a lot of stations that go off the family-friendly moniker can have that level of authenticity.
Right, because you do. And so you meet people where they are with anxiety or worry or fear, and then with just plain old hilarity. So,
we can't judge anybody, because everyone in this car is kind of a mess. All in their own way.
Some more than others.
And I think we all are. Maybe that's part of it, as he's doing the point back there.
I think that's why people relate to it, because they're like, well, we're a mess like they are.
Everyone wants that. They want the authenticity, but they don't want it to be dumbed down.
Yeah.
So, which, you guys do that. And so I thank you for my kids. I thank you for me, but I love that my older children will listen.
We've had, now, since we've been doing it long enough, it's almost generational. Like, we have people, because WayFM's been around for 30 years, and in all those other markets and stuff, and we've had people that were like, man, we did a show last night, the Wally Show. It was a Christmas show, and the North Point Inside Out guys that we play on the station were there, and they played at the concert, and one of the guys was like, man, I've been listening to you since I was 14, and it's so cool to get to play, you know, and do a show with you. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And so now he's young man, and you know, he's like, now he's in music ministry, and like, what a cool thing to have been a thread inside of his life that I had no idea. You know?
Specifically for the station or for you?
For
Are
us.
you that old?
Yeah, I'm that old. Yeah, I'm way that old. Because he's 24, so he's been listening for 10 years, and we've been here for almost 12.
That's really cool. Okay, so one thing that we love to ask people, just because we think it's so interesting, is because your show really, and the station, deals with hope a lot, hope and laughter.
Right.
And a big part of joy is hope. You know, they're good friends, and it's woven within. And so I would love to hear from each of you. What we usually ask one person. I don't normally have 4 people in the car.
Yeah,
and it's
you're
sort of
outnumbered.
Like a little outnumbered, but we love to get 5 tips to a joy-filled life, like in your own personal life. Like, what's been something? And so if y'all would share like one each, and we'll make Wally share too, since it's your show. Since
I'm the
show
most joyful.
is named after you.
Yeah. For me,
I'm the most joyful.
Yeah, I know. That's. I mean, that's.
Okay, but talk about
But
joy,
that's the reality.
That's the key.
Yeah, see, that's the reality. For me, joy is a lot of times, more often than not, a choice.
Yeah.
You know, like, I love the For King and Country song at the end, I choose joy, you know, and because there's a lot of stuff that goes around, whatever, but just internally, that's not my default. My default is pessimism, negativity, and so I have to be conscious about choosing joy. And on the times when I don't, I'm not healthy, and it's kind of a mess, and everybody else around me has to deal with the fallout of that and stuff. So when I'm at my healthiest place mentally, it's when I'm being cognizant about choosing joy. When I'm not, and I'm stuck in whatever you want to call it, depression or what have you, it's not a great thing for everyone else around me. And everyone thinks, oh, the funny guy is like, oh, he just has no issues, he's just funny, you know. But most comedy comes from a place of pain or hurt, insecurity. Like, it's crazy. And that's why, like, Robin Williams, like, his death, I don't get shook by celebrity deaths. You know, you see them on, you hear about me, oh, that kind of stinks, because boy, they had everything, and if they can't be happy, wow, what hope do I have, you know? And so, like, his death actually kind of messed with me a little bit, because I get him, you know. And so that's why the music that we play and the way we do the show is so important, because it's that reminder of, you know, when you look at other people that struggle and you think, well, what hope is there for me? Everything we talk about and everything that we're doing is pointing back to Jesus and pointing back to hope, you know, because once you lose hope, then it's a downward spiral that ends really badly for people.
Right.
So my first one is joy. Choose joy. We'll go around. I'll end mine after that.
Becca?
Mine is something I've been thinking about, this specific thing a lot lately, and that is to be confident in the person that God created you to be.
That's good.
Because when I was growing up, I mean, I'm 6 foot tall. I'm awkward. I'm clumsy. Like, I don't always say the right things. I'm sarcastic. Like, all these things that you can list as faults. And I've started getting emails from teenage girls that they're like, man, I don't like this physical attribute about me. I don't like this about my personality. And it took me way too long in life to realize, like, this is how my creator made me. He did not accidentally make me 6 foot tall. He did not accidentally make me awkward, as much as I wish that I were just a graceful being that could dance around all day long. But I truly believe that we serve a God that can use the most random things in the most powerful ways. So there might be something that I am so uniquely created to do in life because of my height. And I'm not saying that's for sure going to happen, but I believe in a God that can make that happen, right?
She can reach those cupboards over the fridge that no one can get to. That's kind of nice.
But I wish that I had come to that realization sooner, that this is who God created me to be. The things that feel like they're holding me back, the things that even sometimes people will pick apart at and kind of chisel you down at, like, God created me this way, and I can be joyful in the fact that he has this very unique purpose for my big ears, for my small feet, whatever it is, because that is who he created in his image.
That's good.
I don't know what happened. Like, we were taking photos last night, and Becca, to be kind, always shrinks down to my level so she doesn't tower over me.
Well, we don't fit in the photo together.
Yeah, because I'm like only 5'6", but I don't know what happened, especially when they were like little kids. You go even lower than me, which then makes me shrink down. We look like it's an episode of Little People Big World. Yeah, it's crazy. Pretty soon we're all like laying down.
I was trying to get on the kids' level.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, I got on your level.
Yes. What about you, Betty Rock?
Mine would be comparison. And this is something I daily have to work on, because I daily come across things that happen in my life that remind me that I'm not in the same stage of life that typically most 33-year-olds are. And so, you get on social media, you get on Instagram and Facebook, and you see all these friends that are on their 6th baby, and you're like, I haven't even found someone that I can date yet, So I think it's having to, I read in a devotional not that long ago that said something like God gives everyone their own deck of cards, and it's like you can't make your deck of cards look like someone else's. You have to just make the best with the deck of cards you were giving. And so making sure that, I realize that though it's not what I would want, it is what God has called me to, and to try and make the best of it, because at the end of your life, you don't want to be like, well, I wasted all that time wishing for something that, So trying to just not compare myself to others.
How crazy would it be if this podcast, some guy that looks like a lumberjack, burly, funny, but nice and kind, loves the Lord, not a drinker or smoker, no kids, saw this and was like, and is going to move to Nashville
I was
and
about to
sweep
say,
you off your feet.
in Nashville.
He has a whole list.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know what you. This is weird. Okay, so there's a guy at my church, and I felt like I was like. I'm like, okay, would this guy be good for Betty? And so then I started talking to him.
Oh my gosh. No, I think that's so nice.
I know.
You care.
Do you think that's nice?
Yeah.
I'm a little worried.
Well, no, I was trying to figure out, okay, would this guy be good for Betty?
super nice.
And I ruled him out for you.
Thank you.
But I would have
But he has not ruled out this one guy that owns a tiger.
Yes!
Because that would be so
need to
cool.
date
Thank
him.
you. It makes sense to everybody but you.
Is he in Nashville?
Yes!
Well, there you have it.
Nashville and
And a tiger!
And that is a little weird, but still kind of cool at the same time.
way cool. What about you, Zach?
I would say contentment. The times where I don't think you can be discontent and joyful at the same time. And
Yeah, I
there's so
think that's
many
true.
ways our society's built to make us discontent. We see something like 10,000 marketing messages a day, and each one is built and designed just to tell you you're not complete until you have XYZ.
Yeah.
And so battling that, and I think comparison goes into contentment. I think also anytime I have a seed of a thought that I deserve something, whether it's something I have already or something I don't have, I think joy immediately dissolves, because that attitude that
Entitlement.
that I'm entitled to this, like it just it evaporates joy instantly. I think one practical thing we've done lately that's helped a lot, we're paying extra for different like streaming services and stuff to get rid of commercials. and just reducing the number of commercials.
And you're on your personal
just
stuff?
like on Hulu.
Okay.
It's like $1 a week extra to get rid of commercials, which I thought was ridiculous. But I'm anytime you reduce the number of people telling you you don't have enough, when you can get that out of your head, I think it makes you more joyful.
That is so interesting.
Yeah, he hasn't had a single urge to buy Rogaine since he did that.
So wrong. Everything about that was wrong. But
Hopefully get better friends.
so my daughter, I don't know how, like on my phone, I had on like your Facebook app or whatever it is, it was showing up numbers every time something came up, and I turned off unknowingly the, I guess, what do they call that? Notification.
Right.
And it's been the best thing ever. I mean,
Yes.
who knew? Because
I've
I was
turned
like,
off all of
I
them.
wasn't even aware that I cared until I turned it off. And I was like, I like my phone a lot better.
Yeah.
So,
I think the final one actually kind of dovetails with that, because that's a really good point. That actually made me think of just my own personal life too. It's like, yeah, when I'm not settled, then I'm not happy, and a lot of it that can be with contentment with multiple things in your career, your personal life. But I think the counter to that, and like what's the tip, would be thankfulness.
Yes,
so
gratitude.
I do find that gratitude, when you get out of your wallowing and you start being thankful, that helps bring joy. Like it's funny because it's advice I have to take myself, and don't always, but like people ask me all the time about that. They're stuck, and what do I do to get unstuck? And it's like, start being thankful for one thing.
Yeah.
One thing every day. And what you'll find is and just pray little short prayers all day. Lord, just thank you for this, even when you're frustrated. And then all of a sudden you'll find other things to be thankful for. And then before you know it, you find yourself having these daily short conversations with God throughout the day, and that can be something that is transformative in your life. So there you go.
And it's funny you bring that up too, because it was so timely. This morning I was watching a video of a friend. They lost their son a year ago today, who's 16, after a really long health battle. And so but she was listening to Old Church Choir by Zach Williams, and there's a line that says, "There ain't nothing gonna steal my joy." I always say, there isn't anything.
Right, because you're a grammar Nazi.
I'm a grammar snob, yeah. But she was on this day that is hard for her. It's understandably hard. She was like, we were talking to our therapist after we lost our son, and she told us, not every day is going to be so filled with joy. You're not always going to be surrounded by joyful people or joyful things or joyful situations, but you can look for that joy, and you're going to find it every single day, even in the hard. And so she's showing pictures of the joyful times in her son's life, and getting ready to go to lunch with his friends and things, and just that reminder that, like you were saying, being grateful, but looking for those opportunities. So we don't often do that.
You get what you look for. I think you find what you look for. If you're looking for negativity in the world, pessimism in the world, you're going to find that, or it's going to find you. If you're looking for joy, thankfulness, then that's going to find you. And again, back to the first thing, you got to choose it sometimes.
Yeah. I love it. Do y'all feel encouraged?
We just encouraged ourselves.
Yeah. I think I think that is why the scripture, why it says, talk with each other and don't stop sharing, because I think you do get to hear it yourself, and I think we need to hear it more than anybody else.
One of the coolest things, my wife went to like a business women's thing with Christy Wright. She works with Dave Ramsey.
Okay.
She's really awesome, but they went there and it was, to motivate you to live out your dreams and follow what your passions are. And so they said, okay, now write a letter to yourself. No, it was write a letter to somebody else that's here today. Pick somebody at random, write them a letter, and encourage them in what you think they need to know.
So good.
Yeah, and so they all write it down, and then the twist at the end was, okay, that letter, don't give it to anybody. That letter's for you.
So good.
Because how many times do we tell people, we give everybody the advice, and that's what you should do, but we don't internalize it when that same advice is just as applicable to us.
So good.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, this was fun.
Yeah.
I was promised a McDonald's run, but whatever.
For the record, I offered coffee.
I made money, so I did.
Yeah, that's great.
There's money. And here's a couple of dirty socks if you want. So.
Nice.
Oh, and a studio movie grill. Do y'all have that?
Oh, we don't.
Free studio movie grill.
Nice.
Do y'all have this?
No.
They're awesome. You go and you eat and watch the movie.
Oh, that's good.
Wow.
You don't have these?
No.
Oh, there's your business idea.
Exactly.
So you're not leaving with nothing.
That's good. Kind of, because we don't have one near us.
That's right. See? right. Well, thanks you guys so much. And thanks to you guys for watching. And our show's called Say Something. And so I hope that everybody will go out and say something encouraging to somebody else and to yourself. Because it's so important. And practicing these things. Because a huge part of the message that is consistent with all of y'all is our eyes aren't on ourselves. When we're joyful, it's pretty much either on the Lord or encouraging somebody else or being thankful for what you got. So thanks for spending some time with us.
Thank you.
Our very special thanks to WayFM's The Wally Show. Connect with Wally at wayfm.com/Wally, where you can listen live or catch their podcast, and on Facebook and Instagram at Wally Show. Thanks again for joining the conversation. We love hanging out with you guys. Want to stay connected? Like or follow us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, or follow us on Instagram. See you next time on Say Something.